Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true.
Hey, Besties, this is Julie.
And this is Chantel, and we are Viera Vida. And I got one question for Julie, quick, as I just hijacked your intro.
Oh,
Is them woods safe?
if these woods safe. No, there's bears out here, you guys. I am out here in North Jersey. For those of you who are not watching and are listening online, and I'm out here in these woods.
Yeah, friend, and they ain't safe, friend. We're claiming they're safe. You're covered and protected under his, his angels.
Hallelujah. Yes. Even the lion's den is safe. My God. So listen, Julio, my husband woke up this morning, did his little workout loud on this deck. I just stayed with my sister-in-law for a couple of days. And he wanted to wake me up, and I wish I would have gotten up because I was being lazy at the moment, super tired, my last 30 minutes of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And there were deer out here drinking from the mama's tats. What is it called? The mom. Okay, well, there's a more appropriate way.
Like, yeah, politically correct.
Teeth.
Scientific word, teeth. Okay.
Yeah. Oops, I said tits. Well, so that's how my day started. Super cute, but also there's bears in these woods, and they like take people's garbage pails and such.
Oh my goodness. So wait, what woods? Without telling exactly where you are, that's North Jersey?
Yes, it's called Hopatcon, New Jersey.
I know how that's spelled. I've seen it before.
Yeah.
The P and the T and the C and all that stuff and in between, and yes.
Right, all that. So how you doing today?
I'm pretty good. I can't believe I was talking to Dylan before we got in. Shout out to Dylan, engineer. And I said I couldn't believe that we were like back here already. I feel like we just had an episode.
Right. Like
just saw each other.
Ready. I wonder, are you listeners? I'm gonna get the feed going on the side over here, but are you listeners feeling that too? That time is just flying by. Doesn't it do that in the summer? It won't do that as much as winter, but the summer, rudeness.
Definitely. And it's crazy because Julie and I literally saw each other last Saturday. So when I think about like everything we did, like we just had ice cream, we just like sat around talking, and here we are again. But it's all good.
We had the best time. It was so nice to see you.
Yes, it was. I definitely agree. Because Julie's been hounding me. It's like, no.
Yeah, yep, that's me. And your mama was there, and dad, and obviously your babies. Oh yeah, and never mind. And your husband was there. You know who I was gonna call.
I know exactly who you were gonna call him. But it's so nice to be back on here again and to have discussions and conversations and to connect, even though I know a lot of people are tired of connecting this way. But the fact that we're still able to, it's great. I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, so am I. And there's something that I'm gonna do, and you're gonna hate me for it in a second, but also I hope not. So this week we were talking about a gift that Chantel has. And Chantel has the most amazing voice of anybody I know, of anybody, okay? And I just wanted to take some time to give some roses to that voice, because when you're locked up at home and you don't have time to go out and really share your gifts, sometimes people get used to your gift, and I don't think she's been getting her kudos for this voice. So I wanted to take some time to say, Chantel, you have the most amazing voice ever. I hope that you continue to seek whatever it is that you want to do with that voice. And if you want to sing something, I'm here for it. So jumped right into the roses.
Okay.
Also, wait, just before we do that, I have a little surprise for the viewers. Chantel, your sister is coming to the episode today. Her name is Devin. She is a beautiful mom. She's living out in Florida now, and she's actually going to be joining us in a second. So I wanted to take some time to introduce her because she will be joining us any second, and it could be during your gift of gab.
Okay. So, hey girl, you look cute down there.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hi, beautiful.
Oh my God, I cannot believe I just took a bite of macaroni and cheese.
In front of everybody, it's okay. Listen, today's gonna be, we're just gonna let our hair down and just chill out, right? So I hope this don't sound too bad because I've been a little bit like congested. I've been using a little nasal spray thing. So okay. I know.
Oh, we have to fill Devin in. For those of you who are just watching, Devin has just joined our program, and Devin, she knows about the gift that her sister has. We are celebrating Chantel right now and her voice. So go ahead, take it away.
Okay. When I would lay me down to sleep, I'd always pray, oh yeah, my soul you would keep. And when I'd awake, I would always give you praise. There was nothing no one could say to sway me or make me regret the day that you changed me, when you came into my life and you took all of my guilt away. Okay, that's all I have for you.
I'm here for it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That was a beautiful song to start our day with also. So great pick.
Thank you. I had that in my head this morning as I was getting ready. So
You did.
I'm
yeah.
glad you closed your eyes because my eyes start to feel a little watery. So I looked away and then your eyes were closed and then I could watch you sing.
Whatever we need to do to get us through the times, right?
Right. Look at her, still looking away. So Chantel,
Yes.
you know, I'm putting a lot on you already. I just did my roses.
Roses.
Take it away for the next one.
Okay. Let's see. Devin, also, I know that you are an avid listener, so I hope you have some roses ready too. Just giving you a, because we didn't get to give you the preview warning before the show.
Devin's not new around here.
I know. Let's see. Roses. Roses.
Roses of the day.
So I just want to, I guess, just
Oh,
give
you're gonna sing your
family the roses. So again, I think I'm just gonna shout out my support system. Those of you who have been there for me, it's a trying time, and I know people are probably like, we've heard this before, but it's so important to have people in your corner that support you, especially during a time when you're quarantined in your home and can't really go anywhere. Are those them bears out there making that noise?
Lethal. Apologies.
So that's what happens when you're out in nature. But yes, I just want to thank everyone, my sister, my parents, Julie. Yes, you, my friend. Even shout out to your sister, Emily. She's like, you know, she's been keeping in touch and just sending things and sending devotionals when she goes through them. So just to support systems, my husband, anybody who has reached out and said, hey, especially during this time, here's to you.
That was beautiful. Also, I'm so sorry to have interrupted that amazing feedback that you were giving about your life with a puppy. So
Listen, that's okay. My son has come in twice in the past 2 episodes, so we're okay.
Also, your son's cute. The puppy, I don't know. But I will say thank you so much for that, because in this time, sometimes it's hard for us to appreciate the situation that we're in. We're stuck in the house and we're seeing the same people. We're talking to the same people. It really does, on the bright side, help you to understand the intimacy that you have with your support system and your inner circle. And I've taken that away from this time. So thanks.
Yes. So Devin, who would you like to give your roses to?
Okay, I was thinking while you were like procrastinating your answer.
You're welcome.
This might sound weird, but I think I'm gonna give a rose to my husband and my chemistry professor, and that's
Okay.
really weird.
And
But
people.
it's been years since I've been in school, and like I just started back. This is week 2. And I was nervous, but the instructor is like really helpful. And he says at the end of like everything that he writes off on, if you need help, ask me. And it's not just like a sign off. He's sincere about it. So it's kind of helped that transition feel less overwhelming. And LaRue also is doing a different chemistry course right now, and I have little ones knocking at my door right now. But like there's times when I think I get into my head too much and I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't pick this. And then I stop and I ask him, and he's like, relax, you got it. It's okay. And then I'm like, yeah, you're right. I was just like reading the wrong page for that problem, or it's something simple. But starting new things, especially with two little ones constantly knocking at the door, it starts to feel overwhelming. You get into your head a little bit. So yeah, it's nice to have that little support.
Nice. So I'm going to ask a question right off the bat. How does it feel? Oh, look, wait, the off thing is in the way, Julie. The spray. There you go. Look at the baby, everyone. We just got a drop in, I forget the word I'm looking for, by this most adorable little human being. Hello.
Yeah, that's my godson.
And the pretty lady behind him too. Saudi.
Thank you. Yes, because it's Sister's Day.
Woo! So I want to ask a question, right? And this is perfect timing that you brought a little basically newborn. Look, I feel like I can smell the fresh little baby. Oh my gosh, sorry, baby's making the perfect timing, because I was getting ready to ask you, Devin, being a mom of two toddlers and then going back to school, like I know how that feels, but if you can share, and I know you're in the very beginning of going back, but if you can share maybe a little bit of how that has been for you, I'd love to hear it.
I can't say that it's been all positive, like my like my shout outs, because there's times when I feel guilty because I have to put the schoolwork before activity time with them, or I have to put their lunchtime before my study time. So it's really like right now, and like I said, it's only week 2. It's a weird transition of finding a balance, which I guess is basically like motherhood in a whole, but finding a balance between self-time and time for your children. And I have to do it because I can't fail the class. So it's like, but then at the same time, I don't want to fail my children while being at home and also being their full-time teacher. So it's a balance right now.
And because it's new, go ahead, Julie, sorry.
Teacher. I'm sorry, that was a good point, because this is also unprecedented times. Not only do you have to be a mom, you have to be their teacher.
Yeah. So because you're in the very early stages, do you feel that you're going to find your stride in the scheduling, or do you already feel that you've already thought about, okay, how am I going to make this work? Do you have to set a schedule?
Yeah, right now I think that I am taking it day by day, honestly, because sometimes a schedule works and I'm like, perfect, I can get this, and that done for me, and this, and that done for them. And then the next day it's just like, no, mom, we're not doing any of that. And toys are everywhere. And so it's just, I think it's a day by day of figuring out the transition and the balance. I don't really think, I tried to schedule and it was nice. And then once it falls apart, it starts to feel like terrible. So I just day by day, just go with the day.
Yeah, there's something said about that, because I'm not a mother, but I do like to schedule things and then I have it all written out in my planner. And the moment that you just end up like having 4 things the day before that you miss, and the next day you're missing things, and that is really hard for my psyche. So I can't imagine, what that cycle would feel like. So being easy.
I think it kind of starts to make you feel unproductive. And I had read something yesterday that said like, basically productivity is not getting everything done on your list, but it's being able to focus on one and doing it successfully. And I think yesterday was a good time for me to read that because I have a lot of studying to do for a quiz tomorrow. So yeah, I think like as people and parents in general, we feel like we have to put all of these like tasks into one day, and sometimes it ends up not like going so well because you're giving a little bit of yourself to all these tasks rather than being able to focus on one thing and doing that one thing well.
So we're going to talk more about motherhood, but I do want to give Saudi her chance to do a shout out in this section, and then we'll take a little break and get really deep into what this means to be the powerhouse of the household and the world. So Saudi, I'm sure you already know this, but for those of you who are just tuning in, the shout out of the week or the roses is when we celebrate someone or something or even an entity that has been really powerful within our week and or within our life recently, and we give them a shout out. So who would you like to shout out?
That's a hard one. That likes putting me on the spot.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, we do
Welcome
that.
to my world. And I do this every week.
I know. It's like, who do I even, other than my family, I guess, like for keeping me grounded, and like this little one right here. It's like, it's something new every day. And it's a reason to wake up. It's a weekend to wake up, looking forward to new things every day. What is he going to do next? What is his new, I can't even think of like
Milestone.
the milestone. Yeah, like
Yeah.
now raspberries, and I came home yesterday from work and he's doing raspberries, and I'm like, oh my god, what is that? So I look forward to all the new things that they teach me. I learn something new from them every day. So my family, for sure, they keep me grounded.
Oh, I could just sit here and watch him for the whole rest.
Oh, he's a ball of energy. So like here.
Here she's like, I love this. I love that we've got a little bit of a theme going on in terms of family and support systems. I'm excited for this episode because I think it's going to be very enlightening whether you have a child or not. And so stick with us because just after this break, we're going to dive deep into the lives of these beautiful women.
I can't stop looking at his cheeks.
Wait, can we move down? Because I'm glowing in the dark.
You're glowing. We can go in the. I was gonna say if you can like get that, we can go in there.
Oh yeah.
How do you know when you're on break?
Usually Dylan tells us, but right now we're just assuming. DJ Dub G, we good or no? Listen, you guys,
I
if
came
you're still
out
watching
in
during the
the
breaks,
11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. And even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. I have a mentor, Maria, and she convinced me to continue my education. She just never judges. She's a true role model.
Lee and I have had many conversations, especially on air. So I just wanted to get feedback from the both of you. So whoever wants to start.
I don't mind. So
I love my extroverted sister-in-law.
he was born in January, so before this all started, and my maternity leave was set to end basically right when this whole pandemic occurred. So it made me want to take an extra month off. So I was basically home for 4 months with a newborn and a 5-year-old. The 5-year-old was in school until beginning of March, I guess, when this whole thing started and exploded. It's pandemonium. Like having a newborn and trying to give him all the attention that he requires, and then having a 5-year-old constantly play with me or do this with me, or I need this. And it will drive you nuts. It will drive you crazy, and you have zero adult interaction except when your husband comes home from work late at night, and it's
exhausted.
Like it is very, because it's like if I don't shower before he leaves to work, there's my window. It's gone.
Oh wow.
There's no showering until he gets home late at night, and it's just hard. It's ridiculous. And usually you would think, oh, let's go for a bike ride, or let's go to the park, or let's go to the store. Now when there's a pandemic occurring, there's no parks open. It's March, so it's still kind of cold. I'm not taking a 3-month-old out walking. And it's like, I'm not going to take them to a store either to stroll the aisles. So it's just in 4 walls, stuck with 2 children, a 5-year-old who you would assume would understand. But you have to remember she's also still a child.
Right.
So you do tend to forget that in the midst of anger and frustration and tiredness and insomnia. It's like,
I have an observation. So when we're talking about this, the bulk of what you talked about was, like the development of the children or keeping them safe or keeping them busy, and failed to mention entirely that your body fully needs to recover from absolute chaos that is having a child. And so you didn't even mention that. Like, on top of that, I'm healing, and because moms are so selfless. So that I thought it was really beautiful, but also I think this mentality that is like a superhero mentality that you're just sort of inherently given when the baby starts growing in your belly.
Yeah, I don't even think, and I had a C-section, so I just kept it going. And everybody's like, you're supposed to heal, you're supposed to do nothing. I can't just sit around and do nothing.
She was doing steps when I was here in January. I was here for a week in January.
Yeah.
I'm like, Saudi, why am I here?
Well, I'm glad you're okay and you recovered okay. I would have been yelling at you if I knew I would have said, Saudi, sit your behind down right now.
Yelling.
Yeah, it happens. But that's a mother though. That's a mother is to be selfless, put everyone else before myself. And that's exactly what I did for those 4 months. Well, even now, I do work, but I'm home by 2:00 and I'm with them all day.
Because she wakes up at the butt crack of dawn. How? So,
there's no sleep. Like I don't know how everyone's preference is. We co-sleep, so there's no sleeping involved at all. I've tried putting him in his crib, so it's like I can't do the cry out method. It breaks my heart.
I feel you on that. That's me. That is me 150% all the way through. All the way through. My daughter is 1.5 and she's still in my bed.
I know. And I'm like, I feel so bad. I'm like, I've tried to put him in his crib and let him cry it out or like put him drowsy or even put him already asleep in his crib. No, it doesn't work. I get more sleep with him with him just with us.
So Dev.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm giving everybody a nickname on there. Sorry, Devin. Being your role, a very important role. And I understood for 1 year because I had the blessing to be able to stay home with Eliana for her first year of life. So I understand that part, right, of motherhood. How has it been? Because some people might say, oh, you're already a stay-at-home, so this should be fine. You already know how it feels to be in the house. However, there's also limitations set on us as Americans as, what we're allowed to do and go outside. So how has that been, that transition?
Yeah, I think it's been more difficult on Mia. Mia is my 4-year-old. I have a 4-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. Because we would try, like when we got down to Florida, husband's in the military, so we got a permanent change of station down in Florida, and on the weekends we would try and go to a park or like do something as a family since he's always working and they're always home with me. And then once all this happened, it's like instead of every weekend, it turned into every day. Mia's like, can we go to the park? Can we go to the park? No, we can't. And then it turned from, well, can we go to the grocery store? Because that was at least our go out spot. And it's like, no, we can't do that either. So I think now that we're home, I'm having to find more activities to do. So it's more cleanup because now there's kinetic sand all over the house.
Oh man.
And Play-Doh all over it. So it's, like everything is transition, and I think it's more of a transition for them than me because I'm okay being home. And where we live, a few people are home as well. Like a few of the wives stay home. So the weekends we go out and all the kids get to at least have other children interaction. So I think that helps a little bit, but I don't know. I've kind of been okay with quarantining because I'm just used to being home. But I think having to adjust for the little ones is what feels a little more difficult.
So Devin, you gave us some of the ways in which you've tried to get through it. Saudi, do you have some ways in which you tried to get through this time or like some tips to other mothers? And Devin, after Saudi's answer, if you have some tips to other mothers of what might help to get through these days that we're living in, being a parent to an infant, toddlers.
Well, now it's beautiful out, so we try to go on walks. As I am home from work, we try to go on walks. I put this one in a stroller, and we just go around the block and down. Actually, get as much energy out of her as possible, but that's impossible. So there's no way to get her energy out. We try to do crafts. I've tried I have my teaching degree, so I try to do the teaching role, and it's so much more difficult doing it to your own child as opposed to teaching other people's children.
Yes.
So we're sight words and teaching her how to reading the little books with the sight words in them. I'm trying to have the time by doing those things while he's crawling around and grabbing her stuff. But it's just difficult because I feel bad that I'm excluding him when I'm paying attention to her, or vice versa, because they have such a big gap in between. And she wants me to play with her dollhouse, but he can't because the pieces are too little. It's like, how do you? It's just very difficult.
Yeah, we're doing the best we can to make it through.
I feel like some people would probably disagree with me, but I was telling my neighbors like probably back in April, because the husband, he's military, so he was staying home and trying to do the virtual learning with their children. And he said the same thing. Like, he's like, I'm not a teacher, and I know I'm not, and I feel bad for my children. They have I think a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old. So I told him, honestly, like Julie said, like, it's unprecedented times. Don't be afraid to turn on a learning video for your child. Like, and I say a lot of people probably disagree with me, because it's like, no, TV time is bad, right? Like, if you can't be the one to directly give it to them, put on a learning, educational show, or like some YouTube learning playlist. It's really easy to make one. So I think that would be like a little piece of advice that I would give to parents with, like the differing of ages and trying to balance teaching and all the fun stuff that comes with a quarantine.
And Chantel, how about you? What is your perspective when it comes to all of this? I know that we've heard it before, but it's a little bit different to share it in a group of women who would understand it in a deeper setting. So what are you feeling? What is your advice, and how are you coping with the pandemic specifically?
I think the best word of advice I could give is the day by day. I've texted my sister. I even just texted her last night about some of the issues I was having or felt that I was having as a mom. And she said, okay, next week will be better. And I don't know if I texted back to her, like reaffirming that like next week will be better, or if I said to myself in my kitchen, like, okay, next week will be better. Because
No, you said it.
right. Oh, I did send it back to you, because I don't know how Saudi feels. I know I talked to Devin a lot, but there are moments that you feel like, man, I might be failing my children, or they might be getting the short end of the stick when I'm maybe working from home, or I came home exhausted, or, oh my gosh, mentally just going through a pandemic, you just feel exhausted from that. So when they're asking for dinner, you're like, okay, here's some oatmeal, or here's some cereal. And it's like, wow, when's the last time you got some vegetables? What is going on with me? So I think it's just really remembering that the sun will come out tomorrow, lack of better words, and tomorrow might. Say it again, Julie.
You better bet your bottom dollar.
Exactly. So that's what I try to remember. Tomorrow's a new day. They're healthy, they are happy, and that's the most important thing. Yeah.
Right. I think it's interesting to hear these perspectives about what your concerns are for your children, because I kind of feel like a child sometimes, because I have so many limitations with my health. So I'm looking to Julio to be like, when can I go to the store with you? Or when can I go? Like, when can you come take me on a walk and such? And understanding that I'm almost 30 years old and having these same feelings makes me feel so much sympathy for the children, because I understand that, that is just a basic need to enjoy your life, to get out, to want to go beyond four walls. And that's why even the prison system is set up the way it is, because it does feel imprisoning when you're stuck during a pandemic. So hearing the different ways that you guys get out and work around that is really crucial. People might think like, oh, well, you're just finding excuses to be upset. No, this is real life. This is really hard. And what you're doing is not easy at all.
Definitely.
It plays a toll, being stuck in those four walls with two little ones, like a huge, like mentally, physically, in every which way possible. It will bring you down if you don't have the right mindset. It's like, I've had those moments and those nights where I'm just like, am I doing this wrong? Like, what am I doing? Like, this is not my first time being a mom, but being shut in this house, not being able to go anywhere, not having any adult interaction. It's like, it's very stressful.
I can imagine. And I think it's also interesting the amount of interaction that children also want, because Catalina is only 5 and she loves to talk on FaceTime. She loves to
God,
go out
yes.
and play and such. And so there'll be times in which we'll be on FaceTime for like an hour, just like looking at her toys. And that's all. And they just crave that and it helps them develop. And so finding ways in which this 21st century allows us to be able to stay connected is really important. And it's a huge blessing for us to be living, at least during this time. I'm thinking 1912 or 1918 Spanish flu. I don't know how they did it. We get to talk to each other. We get to talk about it with each other. We get to share pics. We get to, have FaceTimes and watch videos and play Animal Crossing or whatever it is that we're doing. And so I'm grateful for that.
Plus, we have more outlets. Like every time I feel like I'm running out of stuff, Pinterest. It's like, oh, now what can I make today, or what can I do today?
You're a maker. You're a legit maker.
Can I tell you guys a song that went through my head with what can we make today? The imagination and the Barney bag. See what we can make today. Yeah.
So good. The memories.
Yeah, seriously.
So is there
I
any...
have a question.
Go ahead, Julie, go.
Okay. Before you were a mom, did you imagine that you would have the strength that you have now? Because I yesterday, and this is coming from sort of a selfish place, this question. Yesterday I was so pooped by the end of the day. And I wanted to play with Catalina so bad. And I wanted to do so many different things. And I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I can't have kids because I do not have the energy. And like, I would feel so bad and I wouldn't be able to keep up. How does Saudi do it? How's she carrying this kid upstairs right now? Like, how's this happening? And I was like freaking out. Like, do you know that this is like, how, tell me the thought process. Is it normal to feel that way? Did you feel that way? Are you guys just like super people? Like, what's going on?
I think it's just something innate in you. Once you have a child, it's just like you push yourself forward. You just continue till you, like, they come first. I could be exhausted, literally dragging myself up the steps, but they come first. So it's like, okay, Kat needs to take a bath. Okay, Nico needs to have his bottle. This needs to occur. Like, at my last bit of energy, like I'm on 1%, and I'm like, I have to keep pushing. I have to keep going. Like I will sleep when I sleep.
Yeah. And I want to shout out the parents, single mothers or fathers who are doing this by themselves. Because that part, I feel like I'm thankful for my family. I do feel like if that ended up being my story, I would have my support with them. But there's even single mothers and fathers who don't have that. It's just them and that child or the children that they have. And that's a part I just could not imagine. They make it and they do it. But that strength and that force that they must have driving inside of them is a great one. Because I'm going to be honest, there were times when I first had Nehemiah, I felt like there was a lot of things I was doing by myself. And I finally just had to be like, wait a minute. Because as a mom, I think we take so much on. And I think that we feel that we're expected to take so much on because we always, like Saudi said, we want to put our children first. Our children are first. We think of ourselves second. So I had to just like, wait a minute. I'm not a single parent. Can you please come help? And I had to open my mouth and say something. And this is also to maybe some parents out there that are in a 2-parent home. Where one parent feels they're doing everything, it is okay to ask your partner, your spouse, hey, I need help. Can you help me? I have to say that I think that I just expected my husband to do. And he's a person, he's an individual, and we can't always expect somebody just to know. I think as mothers, and I don't want to say it's all fathers, but for mothers, we just have this instinct. Like, we know, like, okay, we know how to do this, we know how to do that. And I had to take a moment when my husband told me he really did not know, okay, I need to be fair. And I need to accept that and say, thank you for sharing with me that this is not second nature to you. Let's work at this together. And I'm going to need your help. And since having conversations or telling him, hey, I need you to take Nehemiah. Hey, I need you to take Nehemiah and Eliana. He has really been good in doing that for me. But I had to accept that I need to open my mouth and say, hey, I need help. So that, my husband has been also a help in I need a moment. Please, this is me with the... Anybody who can't see, I have my hands like, here's the baby. I need to go lay down for a couple minutes.
No, that's really interesting because yesterday, for example, Julio and I were watching Catalina and Nico for literally like a half hour. Like, it was nothing crazy while Saudi had an errand. And so I went inside real quick to get a cup of water, and I see Julio behind me, and I'm like, the baby is on the chair outside on the deck. Oh, I just came in for a minute, and I'm like, a minute is all you need. And then I came out here at one point, and I'm like, I think he's hot. Let's go in where the fan is. Julio's like, no, he's fine. His dad gets home. Oh, he's so sweaty. I'm like, what? Come on, you guys. I don't know. I just I don't want to make any generalized statements, so I'm going to stop there.
And that's why I said I can't speak for all fathers, but yeah, I feel the same. Deb, did you have anything that you wanted to add, or?
I'm just going to tie back to Julie's question. Like, I don't think anyone knows how much they're taking on or what kind of parent they're going to be before it happens. And I really do think that, like Chantel said, it's kind of just an instinct for mothers. Not to say that fathers don't have that, but you could read all the books like all day long, and then your child comes and it's like, what book? You know, because that's your child now. And like Saudi said, anything it takes to get my child through the day, I'll survive off of that 1%. It's adjusting to your child. It's knowing what your child likes and what your child doesn't like. And I think kind of figuring that out as you go with the start of motherhood and parenthood, that's what turns you into that idea of like a super, you know, like superhuman super mom. But then I think because of that perception, like Sean, and you showed you could handle it, but then it's like, Dad, like I really need help. Like, no, you go flip the pancakes. I gotta go do something really quick. You know it's like
You flipped.
it's yeah, it's realizing that it's okay to ask for help while still trying to do it all. Like, even though you know you need help, you still try to figure it all out.
Very true. And we have a comment from Maria. This pandemic definitely changes the dynamics. I found raising the girls was fun. My mom had 2 girls, hence Devin and I. The facts.
Yeah, that is their mom.
Yeah. The facts were for me is that their needs always came first. So that's the reoccurring theme that we as mothers always feel our children come first. And I was also able to leave the girls with their father and have me time. This was definitely a game changer. You ladies don't have free access to those outlets like we had. Like, yeah, we're not able to, can we please go have girl time anymore?
Well, what's interesting though is even just going to like the bedroom for your me time. For me personally, I still feel like a little guilty. It's like leaving your kitchen to a chef who's never cooked in your kitchen before. It's like, no, please, no, that's not how we clean it. It's just like, you know what, I'll come and do it. Like, that's how it becomes with your children. You know how they like to play with the Barbie house. So it's like you want that help and you want that sense of your self time, but then it's like, you're not doing it right. I'll just do it, which is silly because they all survive. Like, the dad can do it, but it's just, I don't know, I guess that sense of knowing how things run.
Yeah, definitely.
Barbie likes to go through the window. The little things you guys learn. That's so funny.
That's so true. And there's been times of me like, okay, I need a nap. But if Eliana was crying a little too much, I'll be laying there like, yeah, I'll go downstairs, just give it to me. Just give me the baby and I'll go back upstairs with her. That's happened plenty of times.
It's like when I get home from work and my husband's actually off and he sees the exhaustion in my face. He's like, just take the baby and go. You guys can go down. He's like, put him to bed and just go to sleep with him. He's like, that's my me time, but it's still not me because he's there with me.
Yes.
No as me anymore.
Well, even that, let's say he's not there and you're going to take a nap. I was actually talking to our therapist about this past weekend, that's not necessarily a fulfilling time. Like, that is you fulfilling your basic need. And so I was explaining that it's hard for me to feel like I'm okay to have fun because I'm either like, I have to go rest or I'm not going to be okay physically, or I have to be doing something for work. So when it comes to that time where I really just want to play like a game, or I really just want to like watch a movie or something, I can't relax because I'm sure you guys feel this as a mother, but having that time to take a nap, counting as my fun time or my me time or my away from work time, is not a fully rounded, I guess, healthy way to enjoy yourself.
That's a good point, because I think naps, when we need them, is because we're tired. So it's like a part of what the body needs, as far as like getting the rest for like rehealing, restoring. And then like that's a really good point, because what are you actually doing like while you're awake to get the me time? If that makes sense, like what I'm trying to get to. Yeah.
It's interesting. I never thought about that.
Me neither.
Julie just said it, because you're like me and Chantel. My mom too. We're just like, that's your time, but then you wake up and you still just have to run right back into everything that you weren't doing
Yeah.
while you were asleep. So it's interesting.
Definitely.
See, this is why I say I relate to these kids, man. This is me. This is me all the way. I honestly, I've been having such a hard time with that, and I think that moms, it's a good lesson, and you don't know until you're spending so much effort trying to live. And so that's, I think, what moms are trying to do. You're spending so much effort trying to live and trying to just fulfill basic needs. So it's like, what are you doing to fulfill your mind, your soul? Like, you're even sitting down for your devotions. Like, I feel like I have to rush through mine because I'm like, oh, I got 4 orders to put in, and if I don't sleep at this time, I'm gonna pass out, or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's
It's tough.
interesting to say that, because I had, for a while, I had an alarm set in the morning to read and then work out. Of course, on a regular, my children didn't wake up till 7:30. But for some reason, now that mom's waking up at 6:30, let's wake up at 6:30. And then I was like, well, what's the point? I might as well just sleep until 7 and we'll just all wake up together. So like even when you try to, like talking about planning and scheduling things, I think that's why I've just gotten to the point of going with it, because it feels a little disappointing when you try to purposefully set things up and it doesn't work, especially when it's, like that self time. Yeah, it's interesting.
That makes me think of a question, and I know Julie can definitely chime in on this, because this doesn't necessarily have to do with motherhood. Scheduling. If Julie's a planner, I think Saudi, you also do planning, right? Yeah. So if the plans that you set for the day, for the week, for the month, if they do not work out, like if your plans don't work to what you scheduled, how do you deal with that?
I can talk about that from a super concrete example, instead of just like in general, I will do this and this. I literally have my planner, and whenever there's something fulfilling about crossing something off. So whenever something doesn't happen, I take my little pen and I draw an arrow to the next day. Okay. And when I see that, like, oh, okay, well, I can't fill up that spot over there for the next day anymore. Because I used to fill up my planner on Sunday, and I'll be this day, and then the next day I'm gonna do this, so then the next day I'm gonna do this. Well, the day before you didn't do something, so that doesn't build you to the next day. So I guess to summarize that, I'm saying don't overplan, because before what I was doing was planning. So instead of ditching.
Oh, wait, here they come. I think they're coming back.
Sorry.
Can you hear me? Okay, here we are. We can hear you.
Yes. So we had a connection error. Sorry if you're listening online. What I was sharing was, instead of ditching planning altogether, what we do try to do is not over plan, and even some days under plan. And that way you still feel like you're meeting goals, and plan for everything. I mean, I plan for naps. I plan for sleep. I plan for if I wanted to take a half an hour caca. Like, I will make sure that I leave enough space on the days that I'm planning. Because I used to just like work. And then it's like, wait, when am I going to get this shower in? And I got to wash my hair today. Don't overplan.
Hello. I have another little business. Sorry, Saudi. Just looking at your door.
You sit right here. I have to also remember that life happens. So I leave room for flexibility, especially now that we have 2 kids and like the gap. And I also work. So it's like, I plan and make life happens. I'm like, all right, I'll do this either tomorrow or the next time my husband's off, as much as possible when he's home. It's very hard to have him home, especially when I'm off. Hence today, like, he's home. So it's like, I don't work. So it's like, I need to do as much as possible. And he's like, you pack in so many things for me to do. I'm like, but I'm trying to take advantage of the fact that you're off. So I plan, and I'm like, I can't get stressed anymore. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it does, yes, kudos to us. But it's like, I can't stress that anymore because life happens, things occur, and your plans will be changed.
Allow yourself some grace.
Yes. You can't be hard on yourself for that. If it doesn't occur, it's just keep it going. Because that too, being hard on yourself because a plan didn't pan out, you're just gonna put yourself down, and then you're just gonna be like, oh, then what was the point of me even trying to plan for this or plan for that? It never works out the way I wanted to. It's not. Just be realistic.
That actually just reminded me of a post that we recently put on the Viera Vida account. And it's called Allow Yourself Grace. And so I just thought like maybe we could share that for a second, where it says, and this is obviously my opinion. This wasn't written in books or stone or anything, but I think that there are two principal values that will help you to see beauty in each day. The first being allowing yourself grace, and the second being gratitude. So if you take time and you allow yourself to make mistakes, to not be perfect, to have some breaks, then you will obviously be, celebrating grace in your life, but also you'll be a lot more grateful for the day. You'll be a lot more positive, and that positive spirit will feed into like the commitment to doing things that you want to do throughout the day, will feed into the attitude in which you do things. So I think it's just like those two principles. I sometimes write them in my planner every day: grace, gratitude, grace, gratitude.
That's very good. And then it helps you to remain productive, because if you beat yourself up over what you cannot get done, you're not going to get yourself up and get moving and get it done. Very good. So I don't necessarily have like this written out, but I know we have like 5 more minutes to the show. So I wanted to ask, and Julie, if you end up coming up with any questions, definitely spring them on us. So I wanted to ask everyone, what is, if any, your favorite movie to watch during this quarantine pandemic time? Or pandemic time. We are not really stuck in the house that much, I guess.
Home Alone.
Like by choice or by force from your children? Which one do you want?
It can be both, one of each.
That has an answer. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I thought you had
I
one.
think you had one.
Home Alone 2. Home Alone 2.
That sounds actually pretty perfect for right now.
Which one is, what are you watching, Catalina?
Oh, she said Home Alone 2.
Home Alone 2. I thought you said Mulan 2. I'm like, how did you guys see that already? I was like, wait a minute.
I see that online everywhere. There aren't any leaks.
Devin, so by children's.
By children's choice, they keep watching Sonic the Hedgehog, like the new version, like the real version of
Jim Carrey.
I mean, cool.
It's cute.
You do.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was a surprise.
But if I had a choice,
watch movies.
Yeah.
I do watch YouTube, and also what I've gotten into during the pandemic is super strange for me, because I was always like a super academic, like no nonsense or anything, and there used to be a stigma towards this. But games, like video games, because of Animal Crossing, I've been watching people play them online, so that's a weird thing I've been doing.
Oh, you fell into that group of people. It's okay.
I'm Twitch. I have a Twitch account and everything. It's not a drill.
Oh, man. If I'd have to answer to movies that my son has been having us watch, Sonic was one at one point, but now he's into Jungle Beat. That movie really made him laugh. I think it's on Amazon Prime right now, I think.
Now I have to look on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, but he always talks about how that made him laugh. He watched it with my parents first at their house, and my mom called me in the middle of it, like FaceTime, and he was cracking up. But he'll even ask me now, like, for Jungle Beat. Me, I'd have to say, so the last movie that I watched, I think, was The Old Guard on Netflix.
I heard a lot of
really
good things
good.
about that.
Really good.
Really, really good. But trying to find times to watch these movies are hard, because we don't let our children watch them. So it's like, if everybody falls asleep at a decent hour and I'm not too tired, then I'll try to watch it. That movie was 2 hours long, but I made it. So yeah.
We do old school movies lately. Like, she's been on a Alice in Wonderland kick as well. And we lately have been watching some Quentin Tarantino, so late at night. So between like the 8, Inglourious Bastards, Django, we've been on that whole kick lately.
Nice. So I do have a question to wrap up the show, and it's not so much a question as a prompt. I was hoping everyone could give one piece of advice for the moms or, those people who are feeling a little bit stressed out in this time to take throughout the week.
I'll let the ladies go first.
Take a deep breath. And I do this to myself. Take a deep breath. This too shall pass. That's it. I just repeat that to myself. This too shall pass.
That sounds like next week will be better.
Tomorrow is a new day, and we will get through this.
Amen.
Don't feel guilty for your me time. That's all I got.
Don't feel guilty for your me time.
That's good.
And Julie said what mine was going to be. Tomorrow is a new day. Next week will be better.
And mine would be similar to Devin, is allow yourself grace and find something to be grateful for every single day and write that down. Don't just think of it, write it down.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Also, I want to make a quick statement that I know the ladies will agree with. We love our children greatly. We're just talking through the stresses that we deal with, but coming home to see the raspberries that our son Nicholas is doing and the things that our children do, it really does bring us joy. We really do love it. Yeah.
I don't know why you that
Again.
Yeah,
it reminded me of
Okay.
I reminded you of Mom?
Madeline. She's all we love. Madeline.
Oh. Sorry, you froze. Sorry.
That's so good. Well, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here and giving us your time on a Saturday morning when you have so many things that you could be doing, such as taking your kids to the park, which we're going to do just after this. Yes, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Please make sure you tune in if you want to watch the replay or share it with you guys as friends. It's Wednesday at 2 p.m. and we will talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Thank you for being a friend.
Did Devin leave us already?
Yeah.
Back